Welcome to the Cousins Podcast, where real talk meets the beat. From heart to hearts to laughing cheers, we bring the heat. You rockin' with the Cousins Podcast. Dive into topics from A to Z, no boundaries, always for you, gon' heat your beat. We breaking boundaries, unconventional catalysts, raw and authentic analysts. You're welcome, y'all, we finally here.
Full-time mother of 3. I'm a homeschool teacher and caregiver to my medically complex child. I am also a singer, a nonprofit founder, and an advocate for families navigating rare medical journeys.
Awesome. Well, hey, Cuzzies, and thank you for joining
Hey.
us today. Yes, girl, we're excited to have you on here because, when I was thinking about you in like the title and the topic and kind of just you in general, the word that kept gleaming out to me was resilience. So today we actually named your episode The Epitome of Resilience.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yes. So I just feel like you embody that. I mean, I really do.
The strength
Wow.
it's amazing.
Well, thank you, ladies.
You're welcome. So let's get into it.
Let's do it. And I'm your cousin Julia, everyone.
And I'm your cousin Lisa. So Tamika, we know that there are many layers to you. What would be one thing that people don't know about you?
Something that people don't know about me, they probably wouldn't believe it, but I can be shy. Very shy. A lot of people. I know. Most people, I was going to say that's something that most people don't know about me, and even more people probably wouldn't believe about me. But yeah, I can be very, very shy, which is, yeah, it's probably hard to believe considering, like you said, the roles that I do play, especially specifically with, advocacy, because you have to be so ready and willing to speak up and speak out so often.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Awesome. So we know that evolution is a journey of the soul. And
Okay.
we're all here to grow and evolve in some kind of way. Our experiences and things that we go through kind of shape us, right?
Yeah.
So my question to you is, in the last 5 years, in what ways would you say you have evolved?
Whew, Julia, girl. Okay, baby, we about to really get into this thing, huh?
Let's do it.
We popping it off, Tamika.
Yeah, y'all ain't playing no games. Okay. I've evolved in so many different ways in the past 5 years. What people listening may not know is that one of the roles that I do play is a caregiver to a child that is medically complex, and she has multiple disabilities. Her diagnosis is unknown. There's a lot of unknowns that comes with her, a lot of uncertainty, a lot of I don't knows, and that can be extremely scary. It can also be crippling when it comes down to anxiety, PTSD from watching her go through certain things, and stress of finding the right care team, still having to balance. I have 3 children, so still trying to balance all the things, everything else for my other 2, homeschooling and all the things. And one of the ways that I've really evolved over the years is just getting to a point of surrendering. And because it's really, really hard when there's a so much unknown, especially as a mom. As moms, we want to know every single detail, and we want to map out this life for our children because we want things to be better for them than it was for us. We want them to have all of the opportunities. We want them to have everything. And when you have a child, and when we look at our children, we always think of the future. You know, we think of their future. We think of our future with them. And then when you have a kid where there's so much uncertainty, even when it comes to the future. So the first few years of her life, I was told by so many different medical professionals that I'd be lucky to have 3 to 5 years with her.
Wow, Tamika.
And that is nothing that a mother, that's, you can break a mom with by telling her that. And that's exactly what was happening to me. And at the same time, life just kept happening with her over and over and over again. So I never really had the opportunity to handle those things and deal with those things. Moving forward into the journey, it got to a point where it was just taking such a toll, on me, especially my mental health, my spiritual health. And I just had to really learn to surrender. And that is one of the ways that I really have evolved over the past few years. That's probably the most significant way that I have evolved, is just learning how to surrender to what is, learning how to meet my daughter where she is right now, where she is today, being appreciative of where she is today, and accepting the fact that where she is today could very well be her highest potential. And as long as I've allowed her to reach that and assisted her to reach that highest potential, then I have done my job as a mother. Because as moms, what do we do when anything happens to our kids? What's the first thing we do? We blame ourselves. We always say, well, what did I do? What did up until the point that I had her, I was under the impression that I was going to be having a healthy child. And because she wasn't my first, naturally, the first thing that I did was like, okay, well, what did I do different this time around? And that was one of the things that I really had to unlearn. Like, I really had to work on that. Just, this is her. This is just how she is. And she's perfect just the way she is. This is exactly how God gave her to me.
You're right. You're absolutely right.
And surrendering to the journey really allowed me to be present as her mother, because it allowed those anxieties and those fears and stuff to kind of slowly just break away. And I wasn't so consumed by them anymore, and just appreciating every single moment that I have with her, and being able to be in those moments with her instead of just being with her, but my mind is constantly worrying about the tomorrows. So surrendering to my life with her as a caregiver, surrendering to where I am, where we are in our journey as a mom, as a homeschool teacher, that just really allowed me to really just be in it for real and really see all of the beauty that had been around us the entire time. Because sometimes it's really hard to see it when you're in the thick of things. So when it comes to evolution, that has been my biggest, like, that's definitely been the most impactful way that I have evolved over the past 5 years, for sure.
Wow, Tamika. That touched me there, girl.
Yeah, that was, what would you say about patience? Like, how has patience evolved for you? Because I mean, that's a lot. It's a lot to take on.
It absolutely is. And when you have a child that has so many struggles and things doesn't come easily or naturally, and can even be harder when you have other children that it does, because I'm seeing my child that struggles, and then her sisters are they just soar, and like, they don't even try, and whatever they're doing, they just do it. and they're successful at all of those things that they do, and they don't have issues with learning or comprehending. They're just typical growing children.
Mm-hmm.
So she has definitely taught me that everyone and everything grow in their own time,
Mm-hmm.
and patience. I've had to have, I've had to learn to have so much patience because I've heard we don't know so often with her. We don't know. We don't have answers. We're constantly waiting for tests or constantly waiting for a breakthrough. One of the things that I'm grateful for is that they were wrong. The medical professionals were wrong about me having 3 to 5 years with her, because she's 8 now.
Oh
Yeah.
wow, that's awesome.
She still doesn't she doesn't she doesn't speak, but she communicates in her own way.
Mm-hmm.
Patience has allowed me to learn that about her. Patience has allowed me to really get to know her on a level that no one else does. I often say that she and I have our own unspoken language, because I've learned so much about how we can communicate without ever even using words. She's also completely blind, and I always say that she taught me that love doesn't require sight or words,
Mm.
Mm.
because there's so much. She's so she's so full of love, and she has so much joy and so much light inside of her, and she's never spoken a word. So um you really have to have patience on this journey as a mom and even as a caregiver, because baby, let me tell you, the older I get and the longer I'm on this journey, I understand John Q, y'all.
That's my moment there.
Okay.
I
So
promise
listen, I have had to practice patience on so many different levels
you.
on on this journey, because the fact that I am here on the Cuzzies podcast and not in jail right now,
Girl, we glad you're here.
Well, we can glad you're here
honey,
now.
patience. But patience. It also, it's one of the things that kind of ties into surrendering. It falls under that, because if I'm gonna surrender, then I have to trust, right? I have to trust the process.
Yeah.
If I'm trusting the process, truly trusting, letting go of fear, letting go of anxiety, letting go of the unknown, I have to be patient.
Mm.
I don't, I have to be. It forces it, like it forces it on you, because there's so much of this journey that is so far out of my control.
Mhm.
Mm.
And that is hard. Y'all are mothers. Y'all get that is so hard. Listen, because we want to protect our children every day in every way.
Yeah.
And when you feel like you're being stripped of that, or circumstances isn't allowing you to really demonstrate that or feel that, it
Mm.
is hard, and it's hard to lose control. So in order for me to keep myself so that I can be there for them, I have to exercise that patience. I have to learn how to breathe in the situations, learn which situations really, you know, okay, how much energy do I really need to put into this specific thing? And how does it serve me and my family? Because if it doesn't, then okay, I need to let that go. You know, I just need to let the higher power do their thing,
Mm.
and just surrender and just surrender to it. But I feel like that whole process of surrendering, it forced me to learn patience along the way.
Well, that's awesome. I definitely can take a page out your book because I
Yes,
definitely
that's
work.
why I asked.
She say that's why I asked.
Listen, it's hard. It's
It is
hard.
really hard. It is really, really hard. You know, there's so many things about motherhood that you don't know or you don't realize until you're in it. And there's so many things, the untold struggles that no one ever talks about. And only other mothers can, we know it,
Mm-hmm.
and
Right.
only other mothers can understand that. And our children are the most precious thing, to us. They were a part of us,
Yeah.
you know, and we never lose that. And it's hard when they're on the outside. We think that pregnancy is the hardest part, and then you realize, well, pregnancy was actually pretty easy because they were inside and tucked away and all
Right.
safe, and
Okay.
they were all safe and warm, and so
Protected. They were in.
protected, yes. And now it's this whole other thing, and you just really have to we really have to learn, patience. But my medically complex child has definitely taught me how to be patient, because I've had to exercise it so many times, and it's really, really hard. And I'm not even gonna sit up here and act like just because I've had to do it so many times that it's easier, because it's not, but it is necessary so that we can do what's best for our mental health.
You're right. You're right.
Absolutely, absolutely. So I have one more thing I want to touch on before we move along. I know you talked about surrendering, but you also talked about, having that feeling of guilt, that feeling of blaming yourself.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
how did you overcome that? Because I know that's a lot. And as parents, we do that a lot. And it doesn't, it could be anything. We tend to blame ourselves a lot for things that may occur or that happen with our children.
Right.
Yeah, Julia, it is a ongoing thing. It's a journey. It's not you don't wake up and say, okay, I'm not going to blame myself for this anymore, and then it goes away.
Mm-hmm.
You um you just really have to I had to really start looking at things for what it is. I guess more, um learning how to compartmentalize in those situations, being 'cause in a hospital setting sometimes, when you're mom, you have to learn how to step outside of that role in certain situations to be an advocate. You may have to step outside of that situation to be a nurse, or to be, a caregiver, or whatever that role is demanding of you in that moment. And when I really sat down and thought of things outside of my mother's heart, I had to realize that I didn't do anything wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And I had to realize that, you know, genetics are just genetics.
Yep.
And sometimes these things happen. And I also had to realize that she chose me,
I love it.
So I just, she chose me. I'm like, okay, well, she chose me for us to be on this journey together.
Mhm.
So we're going to be on this journey together. And releasing guilt and letting go of it was very much a process. Like, really did have to sit back and remind myself of all of the ways that I cared and nurtured her from the very beginning, from before the beginning, because I wanted her. I prayed for her.
That,
So
that is beautiful.
the guilt was definitely definitely hard. We always, especially earlier in the journey, I did wonder often, you know, what ifs, all the what ifs, all the what ifs. Now it's more, there's more acceptance, there's peace, and now it's just, she's perfect just the way she is.
Yes.
And the realization of, just to keep it a buck with you, just the realization of our journey is hard, really, really hard, but it's not hard because of her diagnoses. It's not hard because of her disabilities. It's not hard because of her struggles. It's hard because of ableism. It's hard because a lack of quality health care. It's hard because children with disabilities are written off before, they're ever born.
Mhm.
So that realization also helped with the guilt, because I really had to stop and think and say, well, if we were being fully supported in the way that we should be in the situation, it would look totally different, feel different, be different. So I
You're right.
really had to step outside of mom for a second to kind of check myself in a sense. Just, okay, be real. You know how we are with our girlfriends when our girlfriends are trying to beat themselves up, and we won't let them do it. We're not
Mhm.
going to let, you're not going to sit up here. I tell my friends when they start talking crazy, you're not going to sit up here and talk about my friend like this to my face.
Right.
Right.
So I had to have that same energy for myself
Mm.
to say, girl, you know damn well you're a good mother.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes we gotta check ourselves. We have to do that.
Yeah, I really did. I had to check myself.
Hmm.
Like, why are you sitting around blaming yourself for something you had no control over?
Mhm.
And what is the blame? How is the blame serving you right now as a mother?
Mhm.
How is it serving your children? How is you holding on to that? How is it helpful?
Hmm.
And then I had to just let it go because it wasn't. It's not. Yep, it's energy that I don't deserve and my children don't deserve.
You right.
Right.
I always say
Yep.
the best version of me is what's best for my kids.
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
absolutely. Absolutely. And we do it, we tend to move different when it's for our kids,
Mhm.
Hmm.
you know? So I really had to start thinking of it that way. Because when it's, well, how is this guilt serving Mika? Whatever, you know, we put ourselves on the back burner. We'll hold on to it.
Hmm.
We'll hold on to it with pride,
Mhm.
you know? But then when I really sat down and said, well, how is this serving my children? And then that's when I really was just like, okay, Mika, you got to let this go.
Hmm.
You got to let this go because you did nothing wrong or
Right.
different. And this was just the hands we were dealt,
Hmm.
and we just have to deal.
Yeah. You right. Well, thank you for explaining that. I mean, you really are inspiration. You really
No.
are. Okay, so let's switch gears. Let's go a little.
Okay.
So, for as long as we've known you, we knew you had a passion for singing.
Oh,
How
yes.
did
How did what? Say that again.
how did your passion begin?
Oh, okay. Well, you ladies know that it started early.
Mhm. I remember the band days, girl.
Yes. Started very early in life, and then I began to rely on it because it was an outlet. It became an outlet for me. It became my therapy. It became, moments that gave me freedom from whatever life had going on. And honestly, that was one of the biggest mental issues that I had after having Evely,
Mm.
because everything was so unexpected. I ended up forcefully having to take a 5-year hiatus from music.
Hmm.
Mm.
It wasn't planned or anything like that. And that was really, really, really hard. Music has just been, like I said, it's just been such an escape,
Mhm.
and it's played such a major role in my life ever since I was a child. And then during one of the hardest times of my life, I kind of felt like it was stripped away from me unexpectedly. So it definitely, I remember my first, I want to say my first solo was probably, I think it was age 5.
Hmm.
Wow.
Yep, that was the first time. I was so scared because I told y'all I'm shy. I was so scared, like really, really shy, like to the point where the first several years of me singing, I I would only do it with my eyes closed the entire time. Like I would never open my eyes.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's so funny because my dad actually had to get to get someone to help me learn how to sing with my eyes open because I didn't want. I was just like, but everybody's gonna be looking back at me.
That's so cute.
I would never get
What did you say, Julia?
I said that was so cute.
Oh yes.
Yes.
So it was so funny. So so I remember the guy actually teaching me how to, focus in or hone in on something, but keep your eyes open. So thankfully I've been able to make my way back to music, and you ladies know that because I was at Lisa's wedding.
yes, yes. Oh, God. Hey, my husband still talk about your singing.
Oh.
It was awesome. But I didn't get to hear it until I got the video and girl.
Well, you know what? And Lisa, you have no idea, but I needed that day.
No.
Like I have been at the Children's Hospital 3 times the week of your wedding,
Three.
and 3 times.
Mm.
And the day before your wedding, or was it the day of? No, it was the day before, and we were there. And nope, it was the day of. So we were there, and they were wanting to run all of these, tests on my daughter and stuff like that. And this, there were several things that your wedding day gave to me. One of the things was realizing just how far I had come with surrendering, with trusting, with patience,
Mm-hmm.
because I said, okay, well, what are you doing like are doing these testing today? Like, what is that going to change today? Is that going to change anything today with the struggles that we're dealing with in the moment? And if not, we got to go because I have someone's wedding that I have to go sing at. So,
Go ahead.
and I was like, I have a bride that is counting on me. And I was like, so if this can wait, we will wait. We will do just that because, up until then, I've been holding it down. I can hold it down. And because it was such a heavy and stressful week, and PTSD likes to slip in when I've have to be inside of hospitals too often or too long.
Mhm.
And I could just feel the anxieties just wanting to build and build and build and build and build. And your wedding gave me the opportunity to be in a room, be surrounded by so much love and be surrounded by so much beauty and be
Oh,
surrounded by just the amazing energy that was in that room that day. And they say that we talk about how love heals and love conquers, and it's so true because I 100% experienced that day. I walked out of there, I rode home, and I'm exhausted. I was so tired. And I drove home and I was just like, I can do this. On the way home, I got this because all of that love that was in that, all of that, the hard work, because I know all the work that goes into putting these weddings and stuff together. I'm on the other end of it, so I understand. I know it.
Yes.
And just to see it all come together, and you look so beautiful,
Thank you.
and it
mhm.
was just, it was a gift. It was, I know that essentially I was there for you that day, but you were there for me and you didn't even know it, just
As you
just
said,
being able, just
try.
having that opportunity, just having that opportunity to be in that space after such taxing times, and I think that that is so important. And there's so often we have to, me and my girls, we have to isolate ourselves so much that time of year to keep Everly safe, to keep her healthy. There's no such thing as a little cold when it comes down to her. Um, that week, just to give you perspective, it was a sinus infection, y'all. And a sinus infection landed us in the cardiology office
Mm.
because yeah, because that's how, you know, that's how fast things can really get bad when you have a child that's medically fragile. It doesn't take much to just kind of rock your world. So just to be in the, I guess, in that, and the isolation that comes with it is already so hard.
Mhm.
So to be in that space with all of you, and just to feel the love, and you had so many angels surrounding your wedding day,
I
and
did.
you did. I could feel them. I could feel it all, and I thank you for having me to sing at your wedding. I really do.
Baby, I thank you because no matter what you went through that week, whatever you went through in the past 8 years, you don't show up like that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like what you go through.
Mhm.
You don't. And your positive outlook on life is very inspiring. It really is. And I'm touched that you was able to make it there for me.
Yeah, girl, I was so, and listen, it wasn't gonna be, there was gonna have to be some serious stuff going down for me to miss. And I looked the doctor in her face, and I was like, listen, this young lady is counting on me to be there. And I said, so I said, we will come right back if we need to come back, but we gotta go home first.
I thank you, Tamika.
That's beautiful.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah,
you
you
know
got
they say love is
to
the highest frequency, so you know
Mm-hmm.
it makes sense. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Girl, I don't know where to go from here. You over here got me in tears.
Ah,
I mean, just to hear you talk though, like, you can sense the evolution of a thing. You know what I'm saying? And I
yeah,
always say nothing happens to us; it happens for us, for our growth and evolution. And I mean, it's just so amazing to see how you embody all of the things that most of us are here to master. Like you said, I know it's a journey. You know what I'm saying? But
yeah,
the way you embody it, it's just you already there because it's not about being perfect.
absolutely, absolutely not about being perfect. And that's how it just getting there. That's the thing. You said it. It's not about being perfect. It's about being able to accept the flaws, the mistakes, the downs, the highs, the lows, having the accountability when it's necessary, learning from it, growing from it. That's how we elevate. That's how we continue to grow and just really move. Like I really want to you just said how love is the highest vibration and we can just the more love we give. I truly believe that the more the more you give, the more you get.
Mhm.
And just being able to operate in your highest self,
Yes, come on, girl.
Hey.
just being able to get there. And it is so much peace, and it is such a beautiful thing, gives us a completely different perspective
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
in life. What
Absolutely.
matters, what doesn't matter, what's important, what's not important, what I need to be caring about. Because, we live in the age of technology and social media, which can be a beautiful thing when you can find your people. But on the flip side of it, it can be dangerous because they have so many different platforms that's telling you what to care about, what to care about, what to care about, what to care about.
Mm-hmm.
And most of those things that they're pumping into you is keeping you at a low vibrational level.
Come on, Tamika.
Baby.
And
Woo.
you and you have to be mindful
Mhm.
of your spaces and the energy, because people might say, oh, well, it's just social media. No, it's energy.
Mhm. Yep. Thoughts, feelings, emotions, everything is energy.
Yes, it is energy. And you are letting these, you wonder why after you scroll on social media for a certain period of time, you're in a funk
Mhm.
or, whatever. And, so you have to keep it clean. I go through my social media pages on a regular to do a cleanup. And if something negative or isn't serving of me and my situation pops up in my feed, I'm like, okay, how did you get here? Like,
Right.
because you don't belong here. The algorithm, something is going on. I don't know, like you got to figure out how to get them out. But
Mhm.
it is but it's you really have to learn how to protect that space, protect
Mhm.
your energy. And there's just so many things that are harmful to our mental, harmful to our peace, harmful to our energy, keeping us vibrating low where we can't, you know, elevate to the next level
Mhm.
of consciousness, because
Right.
we got everything pulling us down, pulling us down, pulling us down. We're not keeping ourselves grounded, not keeping ourselves remembering what's important. So and that's one of the things that, I actually include in our homeschool lessons for my children. Like right now, while they're so young and not on social media, not using social media, like being mindful of the things that you consume and what you consume. I'm not talking about everything that you eat or drink. Yeah, I know how to eat healthy. I know how to put food, the living things inside of your body. But baby, what are you watching? What are you listening to?
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Because you're consuming those things as well. So I'm trying to plant those seeds in them now so that when they're older and they are going into those spaces, because they will eventually, they will already know what to stay away from. There's so many things that we can, so many ways that we can sit here and say and talk about how technology has made life easier for us and
Mm-hmm.
it's beneficial. But on the flip side, like, oh my God, this is like a whole nother level of parenting that our parents can't even advise us on because they didn't have to deal with it.
Right.
Right.
And they don't
Whole new
understand.
world.
It's a whole new world. We're figuring this out on our own. Like we're literally figuring this out on our own because I can't go to my dad and be like, hey, uh
Like, I gotta get a text back from my dad about what I'm talking about.
listen. So so yeah, the struggle is real for us millennial parents.
It is. You really have to, like you said, at an early age, teach them how to be grounded and teach them how all is mine and how they need to know thyself as well. Because I mean, you really have to instill it in them early on because, like you
Oh,
said, so many
absolutely.
things grasping for their attention. It's so easy for them to get pulled in so soon.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm. Mhm. I'm talking about early. Like I even to the point where I even had to go and say, you think that with certain, I guess, apps and games and stuff like that, because they are made quote unquote for children, that they'll be safe and stuff. And then, like, my daughter is playing a game a while back, and there's this ad that pops up while she's in between rounds, and it's completely inappropriate. I'm talking about completely inappropriate for a child. And I'm like, why would this be an ad for a game that's recommended for children? I think the age recommendation for this particular game was only like 6 or 7.
Wow.
So it's like every opportunity, you know, they can. There's, like I said, there's a lot of evils out there in the world of technology too. So it
Mhm.
just got to the point where I was just like, okay, well, now, we're not playing games with ads, or if it's something that we're going to be really, really, really serious about or highly interested in, we're just going to have to figure out how to get an ad-free version of it. Because why are you showing these type? I'm talking about, it was sexual stuff.
Oh wow.
It's so hard for us as mothers, like, to monitor it all. Like,
Mhm.
like, there's so many things out there that we have to worry about, as mothers now, because of technology has made things in life easier for us,
Mhm.
but it's also made things easier for the wackos too.
Oh
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Yeah, it's also
I,
made things
I,
easier for people that who where their intentions aren't good. It's made things easier for them too, and that's where the challenge comes.
and also, my to piggyback off that, my challenge come in when I'm trying to shelter my kids. Like I have a 17 and a 4-year old
Yeah.
girl. Hard to
that's
shelter without them
that's
feeling
a gap.
a huge gap. You know, she was, but hard to shelter from certain things and without them making me feel like I'm just being an overprotective bad mom. Um,
Yeah.
like my son, he's 17. He got friends that are able to do things that I won't allow him to do. It. He just
Right. Right. My oldest daughter is starting to experience some of that. She turns 10 at the end of this month, and well, some of my friends, they get to do this and they get to do that. And I told her, well, that's their business.
mm-hmm.
And we mind ours.
Right,
and
Okay.
we don't do and we don't do that over here.
right,
But I also make it a point to not just say we don't do it, and just to say, well, sweetie, this is why. You know, we don't do this, and this is why. Recently, she had she's into gymnastics, and one of her teammates was having a birthday sleepover party.
Mm.
And my daughter doesn't practice with them. She goes with they have two different practice schedules. They have a homeschool schedule, and then the kids that goes to public schools, they practice at night. Um, I have I've met this young lady's family, and their family seems, nice and cool. But, I told my daughter, hey, I don't know them. I know nothing about them, and I don't know anything about the people that they're going to have there. I
Right.
said, and as your mother and as your protector, I would never send you in a situation like that. I said, I'm not saying anything bad about these people. I'm not telling you that you can't be friends with them. I say, hey, we can go over there and hang out. But once it's time to go to bed, we sleeping at home.
Right. Right.
And I'm sure not leaving you over there. So I told her, I broke it down for her, you know, and tried to explain to her the best way I possibly can without, because we obviously don't want to strip that innocence too soon either.
Mm-hmm.
So, I told her, I said, sweetheart, as your mom, I don't trust, we can't trust people, just anybody with you. I said, and I don't know them. I only ran into them at gymnastics meets, and I told her, I said, and honestly, that's not good enough for me.
You right.
I need a lot more. I need it to be deeper. I said, if they decide to do something, if they decide all of them are going to do something to celebrate outside of their home, I'll be more than happy to take you. I was like, but we're not doing that.
I definitely understand.
Yes.
Yeah. And
Mm.
them little ones be listening.
You might know. Don't even try it.
So I know your 4-year old, you having such a huge age gap. I know that 4-year old be, oh my God, because
Definitely.
from mine are close. Listen, mine are close together, and from the oldest to the youngest, there's only a 3-year difference. But listen, when I tell you my youngest be in the mix.
You did good though. I don't know what I was thinking.
Well, that third one was a surprise. So
We all get that. Oh,
Right. So I want to talk about this book called Everly Sisters. We actually have a copy here. Gonna
oh
pass it around.
yay.
Yay. Can you guys see it?
Yes.
I,
So we see that
I,
this book was written by Luna. So I know that's one of
Yes.
the daughters, and you kind of helped co-write it. So what was the inspiration for Luna to write this book?
Luna is the oldest. She is the one that's turning 10 um at the end of the month.
no.
Luna has always First of all, Luna has always had a deep passion for reading very early. Like she started reading extremely early. Um and when she was just a few years old, they used to have these little blank books in the Target dollar section. Well, now it's $5 section.
Mm.
Inflation, am I
Right.
right?
Everything.
So it was a dollar section then. but she she used to draw out these little stories. As she got older, she would start to put words to them. She's always reading or always writing, one or the other. I always joke because if it's too quiet, if Luna's too quiet, I don't panic. I'm like, she's probably somewhere in a corner with a book. But if that youngest one too quiet, mm-mm. But Luna, what the inspiration behind the book, uh, Luna had a very traumatizing experience with her sister. It was traumatizing for me as well. During this time, Everly was having a lot of seizures. One of her diagnoses is epilepsy, and she has a rare type of epilepsy.
Mm.
And it was hard to detect because Everly, she's also born without eyes. She wears prosthetic eyes. So um, this particular type of seizure was hard to detect because they're called focal seizures, and how you detect them is by using the eyes. Well, Everly ended up having a really bad seizure, and Luna witnessed it,
Mm.
and it was real, like really bad. It was so scary, and that brought on a lot of anxiety for Luna. I realized that she needed something as far as an outlet. One day, she and I were having a very short um, mommy daughter outing, and we're having a good time. And she just randomly tells me that she doesn't want her sister to stop breathing.
Mm.
And so I'm like, oh my God. So we talked things through, ended up getting her into some therapy sessions, had her do some, we did it together. And then that's how she ended up in gymnastics. It was something, that could be what music does for me, for her.
Yeah.
So one of the things that she ended up reading, one of the books she ended up reading one day, was a book that um, a young lady had written, and it basically like just told her story, you know, having how it was having a brother with severe autism. And her book was very significant because she's much older now. She's in her 30s now. So she's around, she's in our age. So we got to think that when we were coming up, autism wasn't
Mm.
as, people weren't as aware
Mm-hmm.
of autism as they are now. So Luna, after reading this book, she wanted to write her own book. She said, "I want to write my own book about my experience with Everly." And one of the things that she has a hard time with is, people staring when we're out and stuff like that. And and I told her that I thought that that was a beautiful idea.
Mm.
Um, and then we get, this is crazy because this is how I just know that my daughter's angels orchestrated this whole thing, because the author of that book ends up finding us on social media, and she wants to interview Luna on her podcast.
What?
So Luna ends up being on a podcast that specifically um, caters to siblings of people with disabilities.
Mm. Cool.
And then this opportunity comes because Luna talked about her love and joy for reading and writing, and the opportunity for her to write her book presented itself. And at the time when she was in the process of writing, she was very young. She's still very young, but she was 6 or 7 when she first started the process. So it wasn't like sitting down, just actually like writing a book.
Mm-hmm.
We actually had her working through a workbook so that we could have her true and raw feelings as a 6 and 7 year old, because it was a process. It was something that we did over the course of a year,
Okay.
Mm.
because we wanted the book to be as, authentic as possible. I know that I would be labeled as a co-author, co-writer of her book, but I really wanted it to be hers. Wanted it to be Luna's voice, and wanted her book to be able to give the understanding from kids in that age group. Because yes, this journey is hard for me, and I can speak on it as a mom, I can speak on it as a caregiver, but I can't speak on it as a sibling. Right. You know, I grew up. My brother got on my nerves. He was healthy.
Don't.
So, and so I wanted to, I just wanted to be able to give her that space too, to let her know, like this is, this is your journey too. Like this isn't just mine, and you might experience something different from me because, I'm mom and you're sisters, and sister love be different.
Right.
So, so she ended up writing the book, and now, um, at almost 10, since her book has been published, I think we are, maybe this is three years. This is, yeah, year 3 since her book has been published. And one of the most beautiful things that I have loved is that she's been able to go into some of the local elementary schools and share her book with students, because laying that foundation when it comes down to inclusivity at a young age is really going to be key for our future. And, I can appreciate her for being open and being willing, to share her story. And I think that that's so good for her. It's, it can be therapy for her as well, to be able to just have a space to say, exactly what it is, that she feels. I really loved that she was honest in the book about when things are frustrating. Um, and we can learn so much from them. We can learn so much from our children.
Absolutely.
They they see things, you know, differently from us, and that's something else that I also really appreciate about our generation, is that we are open to learning from our children. I feel like more of us in our generation are more, you know, we understand that the parent child relationship is give and take. I teach you, you teach me, we learn and grow together.
Right.
And she just, she'd recently been asked on another podcast for rare disease families, something that she would share with moms like me, moms like her mom. And she said that it was okay to ask for help. And I was just like, oh, okay.
I love it though. I love it.
Oh, okay. I hear you. I hear you loud and clear. But she just, she's so,
He's so precious.
she really is. Listen, she I always, I know that I joke about that youngest one a lot, and she was a surprise, but she really did just complete complete our unit. She brings something different. I think that the both of them bring something that Everly needs, and it's a different type of love, but I think Everly really needs it. Luna, I always say that when it comes down to Everly, Luna's going to be the one that's going to be trying to educate people, on Everly's behalf, and Sky's going to be the one that's going to be ready to throw blows when when you step out of line. But even how they,
Best of both
it,
worlds.
yes, but even how they love her, is different. If Everly is struggling with something, if something is in front of her and it's, not necessarily out of reach, but she got to kind of, slightly out of reach. Luna, she's going to be the one that goes and pick it up and say, here you go, here you go, Everly, is right here, and help her, and, be the little nurturing little second mama that she is. And the little one, Sky, she's going to look and she's going to assess the situation first. And then she's going to be like, nah, she can reach that. Girl, she going she gonna be like, it's in front of you, grab it. But Luna's inspiration, was just really her wanting to, I think she was also looking for, community, because the book has opened up a space for her to be able to connect with other siblings that are in similar situations. And we all need that. We all is there is nothing. We have our people that we can go to no matter what, but there is nothing like having somebody that you don't have to explain every single detail to, because they get it, because they know. You don't have That's just like I was saying earlier, how with moms we don't have to sit down and explain all the untold struggles and all the stuff that nobody knows about, because we know about it.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Mhm.
but and I think that was it. Now, I recently asked her what it was, because I ask her this like every year, since her book has come out, and I recently asked her what did she want people to get out of her book. And she said, I just want people to be more accepting of people that are different.
Oh,
That's so sweet.
it's beautiful.
That is.
So I told her that we would, I said, well, we're going to keep pushing it. We'll keep sharing it, and
Mhm.
we'll hope that, it will help us create a more inclusive world around us.
That's
But I
all.
appreciate y'all for reading her book. She's gonna
Yeah,
be so excited when I tell her that you had her book.
yeah, it was a really good book. I mean, but hearing you talk, like it's amazing the wisdom that they embody at such an early age.
Yes.
They've
Um,
gone through a lot early
yeah,
on, you know. Um, they really have experienced and seen a lot in their short little lives. And most of the time, I feel like with Luna, I'm raising somebody's grandma anyway.
they're
So
old souls. All of your kids.
who listen, I'm always saying, like, whose grandmama is this? Like, um and that's exactly why I um I stay open, you
Mhm.
know, because because they have so much to give, and they have different, a different perspective and a different way of thinking, and how they view things. And I just love getting the privilege of guiding them through,
Yeah,
and and just being on this journey with them. I definitely do not take it for granted, and I know that none of us do. And it's hard. It's hard every day. It's hard, and we get up and we do it anyway, because there is absolutely no love like a mother's love, and we
yeah.
just keep going.
Just one more question, if you don't mind.
I don't mind.
So we just know that you wear many different hats, right?
Yeah.
So what do you do to decompress?
Whew. Okay. Full transparency here.
Mhm.
I'm learning. I'm figuring that out. I'm gonna be completely honest with you ladies right now and tell you that I am figuring that out still. And I will say that I've not saying being forced to, but kind of being forced to, because for so long it's just it's almost like you go into autopilot.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mhm.
after being in fight or flight for so long, dealing with medical trauma and stuff like that, you know, watching your child fight for their life.
Right.
There's so much that comes with that.
Mhm.
Um, we know that so often we hear this a lot, how we as mothers lose so much of ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and there's so many changes that we go through, especially those first few years coming off of postpartum, and stuff like that. And we're just kind of navigating. And that's where I feel like I've been trying I've been learning how to prioritize just that.
Mm,
I'm learning how to say I need this,
Mm-hmm.
and following through with it.
mm,
Because lately, I've been kind of facing my own health challenges as a result
Mm-hmm.
of, extended amount of time of my body being my nervous system is shot, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
So, that's a lot. That's just a lot to constantly go through over and over and over and over and over again.
mhm,
So, um, so right now I'm learning how to decompress. One of the things that I've really been, that I've really gotten back to, that I really am remembering, that brings me a sense of peace and being able to ground is, you know, meditation and deep breathing, grounding, getting out into nature, just um reading. Luna gets her love for reading. Like that's something that's me. I can remember as a child walking up and down the dirt roads and stuff with the little CD Walkman with the headphones on, with the with a book with a book, and I would be reading, and I had been reminded because of her recently just how much I missed that. There was this book that I had gotten for her, and she's like, "Oh my God, Mom, I think," she was like, "I think you would love this book." So she and we started reading this book together, and I have just been having the best time, like with her reading this book together. But also challenged myself to read something pleasurable for myself, like that has nothing to do with the kids and that nature. So I'm figuring that out, because I feel like, going back to Julia's first question, or one of the first questions, that as I evolve, that looks different.
Mm-hmm.
mhm,
How I decompress, like that looks different as I evolve, and just nature is one of the biggest things. Like,
Mm-hmm.
and even during times where like I can't be in it, I like try to figure out ways to bring nature to me. Like, my bedroom has like plants everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
um I like to have crystals, and just to create those type of environments or spaces for myself.
yeah,
It was so easy to do, for my children, but I had to learn how to set boundaries with myself, because one of the things that I messed up at was I had no boundaries when it came down to me. So, and when I say that, like, meaning everything as far as like mom, homeschool teacher, um, whatever I'm doing, caregiver, all of that stuff was always out, like in the space that I'm supposed to be resting.
mm,
Mm-hmm.
So now, I'm not saying that my kids aren't allowed to be in my room, or that they can't have stuff in here, but by the time it's time for me to start settling down, I can't have any medical paperwork or medical supplies visible.
Mm-hmm.
No laundry, no toys, no, like, none of, like, this space is mine and it's sacred.
That's right. Prioritizing that self-care.
Yeah, you really do have to, because you know what? Sometimes life gets so crazy for us. That's literally all I have,
Mm-hmm.
because I might not, getting out to take a hike by myself, or to work in the garden, or to meditate for however long, or baths or whatever. It might not even be realistic depending on what Everly has going on. So
mhm,
it gives me something, and I set that whole mood, like, for myself. Like, there's a salt lamp, there's manifestation cards, there's a singing bowl, like anything that is going to help bring me back down and just be in the space where I feel like, okay, this right here, like there's so much that's going on that I can't control. There's so much that's going on that I have, but right now in this space, in this time, this is for me, even
Yeah.
if it's only for a few minutes. And that was something that I really, it was hard for me to do because we get so consumed with things, especially when it's our kids.
Mm-hmm.
And have I probably could have a PhD now when I've read so many, like I've learned so much, like when it comes down to medical stuff, but I really had to get all of that out. Like I had to, it's still here, but it's like, if it's some of the stuff can wait for tomorrow. So I have to say, okay, now one of the boundaries that that I've set with myself is saying, okay, Mika, is this a right now issue or is this tomorrow's issue? Because
That's
if this is tomorrow's issue right now, your body needs rest. So, um, obviously music is one of those things that's up there, but at the end of the day, that's still a job, you know?
mm-hmm.
So, but I am learning, but nature really calls, I guess, to me the most. So I would say, when it comes down to decompressing, um, that's probably it. If I can just, you know, get my hands in some dirt or just have some plants around me or, um, just enjoying just even I have I have on my calendar on our fridge, like I know we keep up with the moon cycles, so I'll know when the moon is going to be outside of my window. I'll just sit on my bed and just stare up at the sky, and it just can and bring so much, you know, peace and calm, and just like remember to breathe. It's just kind of like it reminds me to just be. And I think that's what it is. I think that you can learn you can learn a lot from, from nature,
And
Mm-hmm.
it's very
so yeah, so but that's what I'm learning. Like I said, I'll be honest and say that I'm learning in that area, and I'm growing in that area, and trying to see what works best for me and how I can fit that into my life.
Well, that's awesome. Well, thank you for sharing that,
yeah,
Sarika.
that was awesome.
Yeah.
And that was a really good.
Yeah,
This whole interview was great.
yeah.
It was so good talking to y'all.
Yes, it was a great time, and I appreciate you coming on. Your
Yeah,
story has
thanks for
been
having
very
me.
inspiring. Like I don't know. I mean, a lot of the stuff you talk about is kind of like stuff I'm into. So, like when you were talking just now, mindfulness, and that's something I'm
Hmm.
still working on. I mean, once again, we're on a journey. It's a journey, not a destination.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, mindfulness, and girl, you inspired me because I definitely need to get with that a little more.
Yeah. Girl, we can talk. We can talk because that mindfulness is my jam.
Let's get because my mind be everywhere but on the present moment, on the here and now.
Yep. And see, and that's what I'm talking about. That's exactly what and I know that feeling, and I know how that is, but I also know like how crippling that can be over time. Like
Mm,
over time, it can take a toll on you,
mhm.
and you just have to, really, just be able to practice. And that's why, listen, man, my kids they're just so far ahead of the game right now because um when I as a homeschool teacher, like I teach them. Obviously, I'm teaching them educational things that they need to know, but like what skills do they really need to get through life? What are the skills that I wish I had sooner?
Yeah.
What are, things that you don't all the things that you don't learn,
Mhm.
in school and stuff. And those are the things that we do. We have a whole curriculum based around mindfulness. We have a whole entire curriculum based off of self love. We have, you know, a whole curriculum based off of how to, you know, to take care of yourself, because these are the things that you know we're figuring out, and I don't want them to be mothers trying to figure it out,
Mhm.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I feel you on
you
that.
know,
Cause
Yeah.
trying to be
because
a parent yourself and mother,
listen, you
yeah.
trying to parent your inner child and these
Yes.
children.
Tell me about
Like,
it.
baby, that is a job.
Yes, it is.
Mm.
So yeah, so it's just but yeah, yeah, please feel free to reach out to me, because mindfulness really is really is my jam. And Julia, just one of the little recommendations that I would say just to start off um is I don't know if you've ever heard of an artist named Londrell, and I can send it over to you.
I have, but sin, I think I found him on YouTube around the time after I got in the hospital. Yeah, I think I
Yeah,
did. I love
he
his music.
yes, he had his music is amazing, but there's one particular it's his um grounding, actually. It's his grounding meditation, and it's probably about 14 or 15 minutes long. And I actually like to listen to it at the end of you know, at the end of the day, like when I'm in the shower. Sometimes at the beginning of the day too, because while we're doing homeschool and stuff, that's what actually plays in the background here at home, because all of those things, how we talk about stuff that we're consuming and stuff, and just being mindful of everything, you know, around you. And it's like you said, it's a journey,
Mhm.
and there's always learning new ways to pour, you know, into ourselves in a realistic way, because as you know, moms, and so much of stuff is going on in life, we really have to get creative with how we pour into ourselves.
Mhm.
So and that's what I'm doing right now. That's exactly what I'm doing right now. Just
Okay.
figuring this thing out. Figuring it all out. But we got this.
Yeah, yeah. I think for me, like you said, in a realistic way. Because for me,
Yeah.
when I started my journey, I was trying to do everything at one time. Like I'm trying
Mm-hmm.
to meditate 30 minutes a day. I'm trying,
Oh,
so I was trying to do all these
girl.
things at one time. I think I got overwhelmed.
Yep, that's exactly what happens. And then it becomes the opposite. It's not serving the purpose that it's supposed to serve. You know, it's supposed to do have that opposite effect. So yeah, and I was the exact same way. And then, you know, and now, like I said, I'll get in the shower and I will listen to that meditation while I'm in the shower, or even just something as simple as while you're in the shower, as you are cleaning yourself, you
Mhm.
could just thank yourself as you clean each part of your body. Thank you, because you do so much. You done held and protected babies today, and you provided for your family, and then you done fed them and got them to where they needed to be safely, and all of these things. Thank yourself, like, and pour that in, because we all, as moms, we got the most thankless job there is.
Yes.
Because nobody truly understands what all we pour into our families. And we
Mhm.
do so much. So so thank yourself, because everybody wants to, nobody knows how the cake is made, right? The cake shows up, everybody gets to eat the cake, and everybody enjoys the cake.
Mhm.
Nobody see the baker baking the cake. You know, we don't see all the ingredients that goes into the cake. We don't see what made this cake so special, or made it so moist or sweet or whatever. We just know that cake showed up. So
Right.
the only person, so we have to like give that to ourselves. Thank yourself. Thank you. Like, thank you, thank your body for carrying them and loving them, and all kinds of, just pour that love right into yourself. And that's a simple way to start. That's a simple way, and it's realistic, because you're going to take a shower anyway. So
Mhm.
if you're already going to be in there, you might as well pour into yourself while you're cleansing yourself, or just envision the day, just as the
Washing,
water's rinsing, just
washing.
just let it go, let it flow right down the drain, just let everything, just let it go. and then see how you feel afterwards. Do it for a while, see how it feels. If you feel like it's giving you, serving you, then okay, this works. This works for me. And it's not overbearing. And it's not something that I got to figure out. And it's not, you know, 30 minutes or whatever, you know. So because that, listen, that meditation thing, that's practice. Talk about patience. You got to really have some patience with yourself, because if your mind anything like mine and won't stop.
I feel you. And I'm always in my head, which I've gotten better since I kind of started back meditating. But
Uh-huh.
babe, at the beginning, whoo, I want to say, shut up.
Girl, listen. I used to, you know, I'm like that too, always in my head, and I'll lay down and think that, especially if it's a night where I feel like I got lucky enough to try to get to bed early, and I'd be like, all right, don't start, don't you start.
Okay. That overactive mind, man.
Yeah, that overactive mind. But you know what helps the overactive mind? Surrendering.
Yeah, absolutely. You're absolutely right.
surrendering surrendering, because you know you think it, you know, at the end of the day, I think, you know, I think my higher self, I think my angels, I think my guides, I think, you know, the creator. And I'm just like, okay, this is, you know, this is going on. And you know that it's going on because you're here with me. I'm giving this to you. I'm going to bed.
I know that's right.
Yeah. It's not easy. It is not easy right now. One of the things that I remind myself every single day, because I got those little markers where you can write on mirrors and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Um, the slower you go, the further you get.
Mm.
So, you know, you just got to take your time. You just got to take your time and just, um, you know, so many people here. Another downside of social media. So many people see certain things in a 15-second clip and think that that's how fast things are supposed to happen.
Ooh,
Right.
that'll
Right.
preach.
But that's not how it goes.
Mm-hmm.
And your journey isn't my journey, and your journey is going to look different. We might have some similarities and have some ways that we can help each other along the way, but at the end of the day, it's yours.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to take that deep dive and figure it out, you know. So, and that's where I am when it comes down to decompressing, because I'm like, okay, Tamika, like you can't, you can't continue to do this, because you know, as cliche as it sounds, when people say you can't pour from an empty cup, you can, but
Mm-hmm.
there are consequences to that. So you
Absolutely.
can you
And
can
it's called
absolutely.
self-sacrificing.
Yeah, exactly. And we ain't trying to do that. So, so we want to remain, we want to remain healthy, for our children, and we want to be here, you know, fully, mind,
Yeah.
body, and spirit. We want to be here fully. We want to, we only get this, they're only this age, you know, your daughter's only 4, you know, until she's 5, and then, you know, these days they just go. So we have to really just figure out how to just be,
Mm-hmm.
you know, how to just be. And it is quite the journey when you have tiny people depending on you.
Yes. Oh.
Yeah.
Ooh, never ending journey. But it's rewarding. I'm blessed. I love my babies.
Yeah, absolutely. But it's
And
hard.
get rough.
Ain't nobody.
It
And it's okay to say that. It's
Yeah.
okay to, you know, it's okay to say that.
yeah.
I think that's, you know, one of the things, you know, how people are like, if you complain about any part of the journey, well, you decided to have the kids. Okay, I did. And it's still hard.
Right. That don't change.
It doesn't change the fact that it's hard.
Exactly.
I
We
still
doing
want
the best
them.
we can. We doing the best we can.
Right, right. I'm tired and I still want them.
Right.
Like,
Right.
So, but this is good. It's felt so good because it really does. Like I said, it just mothers, y'all get it, and it feels good to be able to just to say that and us be able to laugh about that because it is what it is.
Exactly. Transparency.
Right.
Seriously. Mm-hmm.
Thank you so much, Tamika, for sharing your inspiring story. It was
Thank
really
you, ladies, for having me. This was so good.
Yes, I
This
enjoy
felt like a therapy session.
snap, Dean.
Snap, snap. Yes. This is so good. I feel, I feel like the cup ain't so empty, Like
yes,
the
yes.
cup has been poured into a bit. So
I love
thank you, ladies.
You're welcome.
you.
All right, so well, and thanks, cousins, for tuning in to this week's episode. Until next time.
Woo-hoo.